Okay, so we're going to try making it look a little bit better. Probably the main thing in that is just getting the fonts to be decent. So we already did a little bit on fonts, which was this one here. So we saw that you could change the fonts to be something different. You could change the size. You can also make them things like bold or italic or other stuff in there. So feel free to play around with that. Next thing we probably want to do is add some color. Yay! So I'm terrible with art and colors and stuff like this. You probably heard me say in other videos. But what I do like to use is this Adobe Color. So this is free. You can go online and find it. And basically you give it a color and it gives you complementary colors that kind of go with it. All right, so we could play around with that. And then there's some other options up here. Complementary colors or... yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with, not monochromatic, I think I'm going to do this in those ones. And it's kind of nature-y, so let's go with a green. Hey, let's go with that. Okay. Not sure. Still green. I'm trying to get a greeny. Okay, let's go with it. So what we can do is we can use these color codes. So maybe I'm going to have top section, which is going to be this green, and then the question is going to be in this color, and then the buttons are going to be in this color at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to my text here, and what we can do is go to where you've made your headings and the buttons and stuff, and anywhere in here we can put BG for background equals, and then put that color code in. Now remember another comma at the end. Okay, and then if I do the same, so I said that's going to be the same for my button pane here, and then I want my buttons to have the I want my buttons to, or sorry, my question to have that color. So the question, I can do BG equals, comma, so that button pane, and let's have the buttons the same color as that one there. Okay, dum, 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 dum. Okay, now this is not going to look good, but still. Yay! Okay, it looks pretty ugly, but we're going to sort that out in a bit, get this moving out a bit. So but the colours are alright, I think. Yeah, I could maybe get these to be a totally different colour, but it doesn't matter. Don't worry too much about this. Now, what we can do is we can actually change the other colour as well. We can change the foreground. So I think I had this here, so I could try and change the foreground. It's probably not going to look really ugly as well, and that's going to change the text color. All right, so I could change BG to be this, and I could change FG to equal, quotation marks, dum, close quotations, dum. It's going to look so bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it looks better in black. Probably needs a dark color. Is there a dark color on there? Not really. Still. Okay, so I'm just gonna get rid of that yellowy color, but just be aware you can add in, you can change the text color as well. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. Now, as you probably noticed, it's a bit it doesn't look good because you've still got all this gray here. So we could either just change the frame itself to have a different color, or we could make these things space out a bit better. So to space things out, we go to our pack section. So in the pack section, we've got two things we want to change. We want to change the fill, so we want it to finish the rest of the line basically, and we can fill in both directions. That's just going to spread out in both directions. Now we can also tell it to try and fill out even more by doing well, let me show you that one first so you can get the idea. So when I run that, it's going to fill the line. Yeah, it's going to fill the full width there. But I could get it to take up more space itself by doing expand equals true. And then that's going to look slightly different again. It's going to space it all out so that it's taking up a lot more space in there. So let's just try and copy that. Now, like I said, don't expect mine to be good. You can be all artistic and sort it out that way. I'm just going to put that in for all of them. I'm going to come back to the buttons in a second. And just do run. Okay, that looks a bit better. Now what I'd like to do is get my buttons onto the same row. So there's a whole bunch of different layout managers you can use. Dotpack is the easy one. It basically throws things in one after the other. But there are some options. Also, you could use other things like I like grid usually because you can place it just like on a grid where you want it to be. But in this one we could do side equals and then left for this one. And this one's going to be side equals right. Save. Run. Okay, now it ends up in a... still a bit silly, but what if I were then to expand those out using the same thing? What if I added that into it? Is that going to look atrocious? Probably, but we'll see. Now, we don't want to fill both this time. Let's just fill the X. Yeah, because we don't want it to fill the whole thing. So we can do a tk.x. And fill equals tk.x. So that way it's only going to go side to side rather than filling the whole frame, because otherwise you just end up with a big block. Yay, okay, I'm quite happy with that. Does it have a backbone? Yes. Does it have fur? No. Does it have feathers? Yes. It's a bird. Now you could get rid of these yes no's that we put before. We don't need these anymore. Other things we could do, maybe a reset button so we could go back to the start once we get there. If you want to be really fancy, you could try and add pictures in. You'd have to use something called Pillow and stuff, but you can explore that. If you've got to this stage, then you're super smart anyway, and you could be looking for things to make it a bit more exciting. Okie dokie. So hopefully that's more than enough to keep you going for the time. Bye-bye. Good luck.